So I think some of us were talking, that it was a tough week because we didn't have that extra week with the break and getting 6 chapters and that amount of time is, for me, it was quite a bit. And I think what my goal this week is going to be to try to, like, from Tuesday to Sunday, like, do a chapter a day, because it's so easy to get, so easy to get behind on this for sure. But, so I think it was a challenge for all of us. I'm trying to remember though too, that this is just honing in our observation skills, so that as we draw, we have to go back and check. That's what's causing me to do, is check details. So I think this is kind of Precept's sneaky way of going, hey, we're gonna hone in observation skills. So it's good. What I want to do first is just quickly go over, the basics about the book and just review what we did last week very quickly though, and then we'll get on to what we drew this week. So just the basic review is that, the book of Revelation, John was the author. The audience was his bond servants in the 7 churches. The topic is to show the bond servants the things which must soon take place. The 3 main segments are the things which John saw in chapter 1, things which are, which is chapter 2 to 3, and the things which will take place after these things. So what we've been covering is this right here, the things which will soon take place. So this is what we've been covering so far. And I'm going to try to draw in blue the stuff that happens in heaven. I think for the stuff on earth, I'll have to use black because the brown is kind of a little bit, might not be easy to see. So in Revelation 4, what was the main thing that we saw in Revelation 4? Just almost kind of like an overview, was the main thing that happened in that chapter.
Got a visual of the throne room.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put God's throne. Right, we saw the 4 living creatures, the 24 elders, and at God's throne, we saw that God was being worshipped. God was being worshipped, and this happened in heaven. So I'll just try to. So we kind of got a picture of heaven, what was going on in heaven, that God was at his throne and he was being worshipped. How about chapter 5? Where was that located? Where was most of chapter 5 located?
Still in heaven.
Yeah, we're still in heaven. And who was the main focus in chapter 5?
The Lamb.
The Lamb. Right. So we had the Lamb. So the Lamb.
Worthy to open the book.
Worthy to open the book. So yeah, I'll put the book with seals because that was important. That was important. Who was worthy to open it? So in this case, it was a lamb, and the lamb was worshipped as well. When we got to chapter 5, we had the book with the seals. So what happened in chapter 6? Do you remember?
Six seals are open.
He wrote this. Seals 1, I put seals 1 to 6. Yeah, so we have the 6 seals were broken. The first 6 seals were broken. And we saw most of those, except for most of them had most of them had an effect on earth, although the 5th seal with the martyrs was in heaven. So we had things on earth and in heaven there. Things on earth and in heaven. And then chapter 7, we had 2 kind of main groups of people who were in chapter 7, remember? 2 main groups of people. Yeah, I had mine to go look at your.
I got my picture.
Look at my stuff too, because this is all, I don't know for y'all, but this is kind of glomming together. I'm like, which chapter was what? I'm trying to, it's it's hard to keep track sometimes. So who was the first group?
144,000.
Yeah, 144,000. They were being, they were sealed, right? Yeah. Yeah, from the 12 tribes of Israel. Yeah. And then there's another large group too, and they were the
Great multitude.
great multitude. Yeah. And they were the great multitude from everywhere, every nation.
And then,
Yeah. So we kind of have a little bit here. We've got the great multitude. We've got, them, as Kathleen said, in heaven, and we got on earth. I think these people are being sealed on earth right now.
Yeah.
Before they can hold it, they're holding back the winds on earth. Sealed on earth. All right. Then we went to chapter 8. We kind of go back. We kind of carry on with chapter 6. What do we see in chapter 8? What do we see?
Seventh seal and the first 4 trumpets.
Yeah, seventh seal was broken. Seventh seal was broken. Yeah, trumpet started. I'm gonna put trumpet judgment start. And specifically 1 through 4. In this case, it was in heaven too. Their seventh seal was broken. There was silence in heaven. And then on earth, we saw the effects of the first trumpet judgments here. Chapter 9, let's see. So we're continuing on with trumpets in chapter 9, which trumpets were blown.
5 and 6.
Fifth seal.
What was that?
The fifth seal, which is the first woe. And are we doing chapter 9 now?
Yeah, yes.
The fifth trumpet.
seal. I mean, the
Fifth trumpet, yeah. Mhm.
Seals at the first woe.
Yes, and that's important. That's a first woe. This is what, when Katie had us do that timeline, first woe, that's an important time. Yeah. We saw the first woe happen, right? Between the 5th and the 6th. That's what I saw. After the 5th trumpet, like Kathleen said, we had the first woe. And then 5th and 6th blown, and chapter 9, and then chapter 10, we have what happened in chapter 10, the main thing.
John had to eat the little book.
Little book, yeah, little book. Let's put little book. Little book. Eaten by John. And he was told to
Prophesy.
prophesy. He's going to prophesy even more. He'll prophesy more. All right. So that's pretty much the summary of what went on from 4 to 10. So what we did last week was we had people volunteer their drawings, because was it helpful for y'all here last week to see other people's drawings and how they did it? Yeah, I thought so too. Okay, so does anybody want to share their chapter 11? Kristen did a very nice job, and I'll show the people
I
online
didn't do
too.
11.
Oh,
I didn't get to 11.
oh,
but I
okay.
have-
Actually, I can show mine 11 unless someone else wants to show theirs.
'cause I-
No one wants to show theirs? Mine is very cluttered. Okay, I'm going
That's where I
to,
had trouble, because I was like, this is gonna be too much.
I was determined to get it on one page too, so, okay. There's mainly, okay, I don't want to put my stuff up just yet, because it is quite messy, or quite busy, but there were 2 main things that I saw that kind of happened in Revelation 11, kind of 2. The first thing, what did they tell John to do? The first thing in chapter 11, what does it start out with? Right. Yeah. And again, everything, I'll try to brown, but I don't think it's gonna, John is can y'all still see I don't know, that brown's going out. That's the problem. Let me just write it black. That way it'll be easier. So these are things that are going on in earth. John is told to. John is, yeah, measures temple.
And
Yeah, the temple. Right, and those, yeah, so measure the temple, the worship in it, yeah. And, yeah, exactly, so you measure the temple, altar, and those who worship in it, so just the inside. Yeah, so he's gonna measure that, what does happen on the outside of the temple? What did they say was gonna happen?
It's gonna get trampled.
Yeah,
been given the nation.
Mhm.
trample. Sway to.
Yes, for the nations that trample. 42 months. 42 months. I'm trying to put little times with it. Yeah. So the outside, so it just measures the inside and knows who's in it. And then the outside is going to be trampled by the nation. He's told not to measure. So I'll put no measure. For him not to measure that one. All right. So I could, show you. Let me see. I might want to get a second piece of paper to cover that. Okay, I can show you what I did. Mine's very, oops, here we go again. Hit it real small. Okay, this is what I did. I actually did mine in several parts, but this is what I did. And I can show them too. There, it's just a little picture. Mine was kind of more cartoonish like, but yeah, so he's being given a measure. We're told measure the temple, but don't measure the outside. Yeah, so I try to draw the temple, altar, and the worshipers inside it. And that's what mine looks like, my little stick figure drawing. And then there were some major characters that popped up there, which is most of the chapters about who are they?
Two witnesses.
Two witnesses, yeah. And because this is written in black, this is all things that are going on earth. So what do we find out about the two witnesses? A lot of things. There's a lot to draw about the two witnesses, that is for sure. Okay.
Well, they prophesied for 1260 days.
So there's a time phrase right there. So under 60 days. I'll put the little time thing, they prophesy. What things are they able to do too? They're able to
Fire flow from their mouth.
yeah. From mouth. I'll just put fire from mouth slays their enemies. Yep. So they're prophesying fire from their mouth is slaying their enemies.
They can stop the power to stop the rain from coming.
Stop
Power-
rain.
What is it? Shut up the sky.
They can stop rain. Yeah.
That's a long time. with no
I think
rain.
on this one I drew here.
Quite a drought.
Yeah. I think on mine I drew about that they would prophesy. Yeah, so they cause away water to blood and then plagues on earth. So stop rain, water to blood. And then send plagues. Send plagues. Oh, gee, I know. I was tempted to draw the coronavirus, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Too much trauma with that, I tell you. So anyway, yeah. So they're doing that. And then what happens kind of when their time is up? What happens when they finish their testimony? What kind of happens do we see?
The beast comes up out of the abyss.
Yeah, so beast, we got a beast.
Do we know what beast that is?
Yes, I know. So
Please.
yes. Well, that would be good to write a question because I actually did that on mine.
I
wrote
think the
on
answer's later. I just don't know where.
Yes,
later.
so yes, and it's over here. Beast from this. I actually have, I have a question mark on that, and I'm question marking that. I'm just saying, I'm question marking who that beast is. Beast from the abyss. I have anyway. So that's a good place to put a question mark because I think it's when we go through chapter 11, we'll talk about it. But just like I know the beast that comes from the abyss. I don't know if I didn't make mine too fancy. I just did beast from abyss. You know, I just threw B. I didn't put B two. I just put beast, two witnesses. I just did a big B. I didn't because it didn't say what he looked like, so I just drew a B on that. So yeah, so he comes to the abyss and then he pretty much overcomes them. Almost the two witnesses. So the two witnesses I wrote here, right here, there's verses 3 to 12. This right here is 1 to 2. Sorry, I didn't write that down. So he overcomes the two witnesses. And then what happens when he overcomes the two? How does the world feel about these people? Because this actually says that later on, these people actually,
They are partying.
yeah, but while they're prophesying, it
Mhm.
says they torment, right? Those who dwell on earth, right?
Mhm.
Uh-huh. So they're not real happy with the messages of the prophets at all. You know, they're really unhappy. So when the beast comes and overcomes the two witnesses, what happens? And they die. What do they do when they die? Do they let them be buried?
No.
No, they just kind of display their bodies. And I don't really think it's for respect either. I'm sure they're probably celebrating over it. Display their bodies and then they,
Then they're gone.
yeah, give gifts, yeah. They give gifts, they celebrate. These are the people who are displaying their bodies, giving gifts and celebrating, high-fiving each other, I'm sure. And then I think Kathleen said, so I'll show that. Oh, yeah, they actually can see it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and so after that, yeah, they're dead, they celebrate. And then what happens after 3.5 days? Rest of
Yep. Back to life.
So 2 witnesses brought back to life. And then what happened? What did they do next? They brought back to life and they,
Ascend.
yeah,
Go to heaven.
yep, ascend to heaven. And I think it said in there while their enemies watched or something like that. I think it said that. They ascend to heaven.
Well,
Yeah.
enemies watch.
Yep. Okay, enemies watched them. Enemies watched, but then it also said something else happened too. They were afraid,
No, the earthquake. Yeah.
were afraid. So they ascended to heaven, the enemies watched, and the enemies actually were afraid. The fear fell upon those watching them, yeah. So this is what I drew on this one, just watching them go up. I tried to make the big eyeballs of fear, and then those look like frog eyes with their eyes are looking up. And then in that hour, and so in that hour, that's the same time we had, in that hour that they went up, and what happened?
The earthquake.
The earthquake, right, yeah, earthquake,
7,000 people die, and a tenth of the city crumbles down.
yeah, we got a big death count here, 7,000 people died. A tenth of the city fell. Now, it did also talk about, so a tenth of the city, 7,000 people died, a tenth of the city fell. And the rest, those who didn't die, the rest were what was their response? Yeah, terrified and gave glory to God. So 13. So 13. City fell, and I think
And then the second
yeah,
one.
that's a yes. So now we have this. I'll try to write this in the Lord. Highlight this. We have the first row here, chapter 9. Just circle that. And now we have, you said, second woe. Second woe is passed. I'm gonna write that in green just so it'll. Second woe is passed. It's 14. And it says the third is coming quickly. So I did try to put that in my drawing just because I know it's a significant time phrase. Third woe, second woe passed, third woe is coming quickly. And then the last thing that happened is kind of a significant, unfortunate.
Oh, right, that's good.
We have a sound of what happens.
seventh trumpet
Right, now we go,
sound.
seventh trumpet sound. Sorry for my putting it down here, seventh trumpet. Got the seventh trumpet sounding. And now we have something significant, something that happens, it says. What happens at that point according to verse, 15, 15, what did it say? The kingdom. Seventh trumpet sounds. and
The
it
kingdom
says-
of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Christ, and he will reign forever and ever.
Kingdom of the world is now.
He has taken his great power and
Begun to. Christ. So I think the way I did it was kind of along a king of the world, the seventh and the announcement, and them saying you begun to reign, and then something else happens too at the same time. We see the temple in heaven opened up, the great thunder, lightning, hail, earthquake. So some very big events here.
And the Ark of the Covenant appears,
An Ark of the Covenant. Yeah.
wherever he disappeared off to
Yeah.
all this
So-
time.
Make sure I got that. So temple open, arcs appear, appears. We got thunder.
what was that last point?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I had to write it down here.
Oh, they are.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
the
Ark-
temple
the Ark
open, Ark of the
appears.
Covenant appears,
Yeah.
thunder, lightning, and hailstorm. That's verse 19. That's verse 19. So these are all things that are going on in heaven, very significant things.
Is the thunder, the lightning, and the earthquake, is that in the hail? Is that all in heaven? Or
I think
on
it's originating in heaven and going down to earth, I think. Yeah, that's how I saw it. We're just getting a picture of when the kingdom of the world's now his kingdom, the temple is open, the Ark of the Covenant appears, and then we'll see, see thunder, lightning, and a hailstorm and an earthquake. I think that was there too, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, earthquake. And that's, so we had things in heaven. Sorry, I'm having to put it all the way down here. And I believe things starting in heaven and on earth too. Anybody have any? Ready to go on to chapter 12?
What was the last one you put up?
Oh, yeah, I see it. Yes, I'll just say right here, this is hard to see, Carol. Kingdom of the seventh trumpet, the second woe passed in chapter, in verse 14. And then right before the seventh trumpet, the second woe had passed, and the seventh trumpet sounds, the kingdom of the world now is the kingdom of the Lord is Christ, and he has begun to reign. I'll put that as a time phrase. There's a lot of time phrases to keep up with too. I had a ton of little talks on my drawings. And the temple was open, Ark of the Covenant appears, thunder, lightning, hailstorm, and earthquake. Verse 19. So I put stuff happened in heaven and on earth there.
So there's two earthquakes, one after the witnesses are ascended, right, and they gave glory to God. It didn't say who gave glory
The people,
to
I
God. The
think,
rest were terrified. and gave
the
glory
people
to
that didn't
people.
die.
And
I'm
then
assuming.
the second earthquake,
Yeah, it sounds like they're.
After the trumpet.
Yeah, after the trumpet sound.
after the trumpet.
Yeah. It didn't say.
And here the nations are enraged
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
because maybe they knew God was, his great power to begin to reign.
Yeah, 18, I thought was a good summation sentence of what's really going on in the whole book of Revelation. The nations in rage or wrath came, because we're seeing like this, a lot of these chapters are gonna be talking about the wrath, the bowls of his wrath, and the time came for the dead to be judged. We know that's gonna happen in a later chapter. So I kind of saw it as a summation kind of thrown into this chapter. You know, and the time came to reward your bondservants and prophets. They haven't been rewarded yet, but we'll see here that they're, you know, rewarded. So I kind of saw it as a summation, but and so that's, yeah, because some of these phrases, some of these things, it looks like we shift from here to there, and there's maybe oh, that's how I saw it. That's how I saw it at 18. I just saw it as kind of a summation statement put into the.
But some people gave glory to God and
Yeah.
the nations were enraged.
Yeah.
But we know that there's some people that, you know, overcome the beast. So, you know, there might be people like these, or might be those things that happen, like, pay attention to me, remember me, hello, whoop, up here, you know, and maybe the people that were like, oh, maybe that was enough for these people. Or
Right.
maybe they
Yeah.
stay
To
in
see
that
that.
way.
And I see the nations,
Mhm.
and I say the nations enraged. I think what we're going to see, when you said that, it reminds me of the kings of the earth being motivated to come and make war the great God Almighty. So I think that 18 is kind of, again, it's a summation. It's kind of saying what is and what's actually going to come. So
In the second. So,
exactly, you're right, yeah, because the 7, it kind of, there's a lot that goes on after the 7th trump. You're right, Kathleen. So I think it's like a big summary statement is how I saw it. All right, let's go on chapter 12. All right. We had 2 main signs in heaven. And did you want to share your
Yeah, we can.
drawing?
Sure.
This is for anybody who wants to share. Now, I mean, and I do warn that there might be a critique, but not, not obviously, But yeah, so this is what Kristen came up with. I'll show the people online too, so they can see it.
This is for 11 or 12.
This is
Oh,
for 12.
12. Yeah, we just did 11, right? Yeah. So this is really nice. Yeah, so that's what Kristen did. I just want to show the people at home so they can see it. All right, so we've got 2 signs in heaven that Kristen drew. What was the first sign?
Woman.
We have a woman, yeah. And what are just some things we learned about the woman?
Clothed with the sun and moon under her feet.
Clothed with sun. Oh, she does. She has the sun around her. Yeah, like that. Yeah, clothed with sun. Moon under her feet. It'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to getting to this chapter and seeing what all this might signify. Clothed with sun, moon under her feet.
12 stars.
Oh, yeah, 12 stars around her forehead. Did you get that? 12 stars. She did. She got the 12. There she goes. Okay, 12 stars. Yeah.
Trying to see this as a pause in heaven and an overview.
Exactly, because now, and
So many.
Kathleen pointed out, these are things in heaven, sign in heaven. Exactly.
One part is already happened. She's already given birth to a child.
Yeah. And
The
she,
child part
so
had already
Chris-
happened at this point.
Kristen says, so now she is in labor and she gives birth, right? Birth
We know
to
that that's
a,
happened.
what child? A male child.
Son.
A child, a male child, a son. And what happens, do we know to that male child? He is
To rule all the nations and caught up
up to heaven. And he will rule
to God and
nations.
his throne.
He's caught up to heaven. Yeah. And he's gonna rule. And how about the other? And we'll talk a little bit more about when we talk about the dragon, we'll talk about what happens with the woman. So we'll table that for later.
If you label them as signs,
Mhm.
the first sign is the woman. and
Right.
the second.
Yeah, and so I have one here for the woman. So the second one, there's more to say about the woman, but I want to wait till we show the second sign because it has to do with his relation to her. So the second major sign is a,
Great red dragon.
right, yeah, great red dragon.
Labeled as the devil.
Yeah.
It's got all kinds of.
We are
Make it
told,
clear.
yes, we were later told who he is too,
Mhm.
who he is. Well, I will put that, I think that comes.
Verse
That's
9.
gonna be verse 9. We'll say he was, but the defining characteristics, he's a great red dragon. He has how many heads?
7 heads.
7 heads,
10 horns.
10 horns,
7 diadems on the head.
with 10 crowns, right? Because the horns are on,
7 crowns.
oh, crowns, yeah. So, okay.
That's the other beast you're thinking.
I am too, you're right, that's it, that's what I had to do, I had to actually write in the margin, yes, 7 heads, 10 horns and 7 crowns, yeah, that's right, yeah, that's the other beast, you're right. Start getting them mixed up. So, yeah, so he's got 7 heads, 10 horns and 7 crowns, just like she did a nice distinguished head, very good, yeah.
One is kind of lopsided because you.
Oh, where'd you put your horns?
10 horns on one head.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just put them down the one.
Oh, all down here.
Yeah.
Just down the spine. That's, yeah, that's all, that's a great way to do it. I didn't
Oh,
think
it
of
is.
that. Because it is on his head technically. So that's good. That's a great way to do it. Didn't think
And
of
it's
that.
on one head.
Yeah.
The
It's
other
not-
head's just that crest.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. That's how you saw, okay. But I like that. And it is.
Well,
That's
all of the heads have crowns. There's 7 heads. They
Yeah,
all have
But
crowns.
you, but I'm saying
And
you put
then-
the horns on that. That's a good way
On
to
one head.
visualize it.
Well, it doesn't say that that the 10 horns are on a head.
Yeah.
So I looked at the horns are on the beast.
Right,
That's how I looked at it because.
Yeah, 7
the
heads and 10
dragon
horns.
has- the dragon-
Somewhere on, yeah, most horns are usually
Yeah.
on, yeah, so
I
that
just
looks,
put 'em
that's a great way to do it.
To
I didn't think
distinguish
about
from
that.
myself, because I think later it matters.
And we know his tail takes away, his tail takes 1/3 of stars, right? Takes 1/3 of stars. From heaven to earth.
Did you do the wings because of
Because-
previous?
I do wings just because in my head. dragon and wings.
So this
I have it, so I
is, this
have
was
like,
artistic
no,
license
like,
and she added
yes.
that, but that's okay.
I-
I mean, it's not hurting the story any, but yeah, so his tail swept away. 1/3 of the
On the
stars from
left
heaven
there.
to earth.
The spear on.
Yeah, that's nice, yeah. Okay.
I can't take too much credit. Like I literally went online and I found something that looked like a dragon face, a head. And then I was like, found a body, it was kind of dinosaur body. And then I found somebody that had a dragon with that tail and I kind of just pieced it together a little bit. It took a really long time. It took way too much time, which is why not all the drawings got done.
Yeah.
I think I 2 or 3, like where I erased too much and had to like start over. So
I'm gonna add one more thing. He wanted to devour the child,
eat,
but
eat the baby.
But he did not. He wasn't able, but he wanted to devour. So on mine, I did like little lips, like licking. I'll show you mine. Mine is very rudimentary compared to yours. Yours is way better, but he wanted to devour the child, but unfortunately the child went to heaven. So I got that part, and I'm gonna skip over 6, and we'll get to that later. In 7, we now see a war in heaven. There's a war in heaven that happens with the dragon. So maybe that's a significant event. We got a war in heaven. And it's who versus a dragon and his angels.
My-
Got Michael and his angels. So we got Michael and his angels versus a dragon and his angels. What is the result of this fight? Who wins basically, or who?
Michael and his angels. of
Michael's
course.
angels, because this is a dragon.
Dragon and a third of his minions swept down.
Yeah, so now they're down to earth. So this is a war in heaven, so I'll circle this in blue. So this is another thing that's happening in heaven. So we've got a war in heaven, Michael's angel with the dragon. The dragon's defeated, they're not strong enough to withstand Michael, so they go down to earth. And we do, Kathleen was saying, we find out about the dragon, just an aside in verse 9, we find out who he really is. He is what?
Serpent of old, the
Serpent of
devil,
old.
Satan.
Right, Satan. Can also say accuser of brethren too?
Yes.
Yes, oh, that's intent, yes. Satan deceives the whole, serpent of all devils, Satan deceives the whole world. Devil deceives the world. I'm gonna go ahead and add the accuser of the brethren, because that's accuser of the brethren. Yeah, this is verses 9. Serpent of old, Satan, devil, who deceives the whole world, which we're going to find out later as we see some deception going on. Accuser of the brethren. And so he was thrown down, and then we see a significant warning in verse 12. The dragon's thrown down. What does it say to earth? Those on earth.
Woe to the earth.
Yeah, woe. Woe again. But just woe. Mhm.
God's wrath.
Mhm. What are those on earth?
Accusers of the brethren.
What are those on earth? And what are those on
Also
earth?
deceiver.
Because the devils come to you having great wrath, knowing he has a short time. So devil is now on earth and has great wrath and short time. However, the other, I'm going to write this for heaven. What did they say about those in heaven? What was the
In heaven.
heaven? The reaction was what? Joyous.
Kingdom of our God and the glory of his Christ.
Joyous, yeah. He's out of here, basically. And I actually did in my time, like I did a contrast statement of rejoicing in heaven and woe to earth. So like a contrast, and in heaven, everybody's rejoicing because of
Mhm.
salvation, power, and the kingdom of God have started, but woe to earth because it's going to be, it's going to be hard times. Yeah. And then Kathleen started to say what the serpent does when he's mad. He's got a short time. He goes after who? He goes after,
Woman.
right, dragon goes after a woman. Goes after a woman. Should we be able to put that on here? Okay,
Down the bottom.
on the bottom. Oh, nice. There you go. Okay, let's see if we can get that. I think they can see a little bit. That's just what Kristen drew. Yeah, so the dragon is going after the woman now. But what happens to the woman?
Well, she could,
Yeah.
what 2 wings of the great eagle were given to her so she could
Wings?
fly into the wilderness.
The wilderness. Kathleen, how long did you say? What was the
3.5 years.
3.5
Half time
years?
times half a time. 1260 days.
And we have 2 references given there because verse 5, actually 6 says 1,260 days,
Mhm.
which is another, that's in verse 5. It's 5, and that's verse 5. And then 3.5 years, we do have that as well, or times and half a time in verse 14.
The 1,260 is in verse 6.
And that's when you.
Oh, is it 6? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's okay.
5 times and half a time. So technically it says times, time and a half time, but we've been to the Daniel study, which we have learned is 3.5 years.
Which is.
She's basically giving us a, spoiler now. Spoiler. 3.5 years. Time and a half. And also it said it was prepared by God, right? It was a
Mhm.
place prepared by God.
And she's going to be nourished there.
And she's nourished there, yeah. So she's doing pretty well. She's nourished there. And he goes after her with a flood, and the earth follows, the earth swallows the flood, so everything's protecting her. But the dragon, of course, is not going to be stopped because he's like, well, if I can't get the woman, I'm going to get the one. Who does he war after then?
The rest of her children.
Rest of her children, because her other child was caught to heaven. So he makes war with the rest of her children. So if you can't get to the mama, get to her kids, I guess.
Yeah,
I know.
that's actually the worst way to get to
I
the
know,
mama, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, exactly right. I know. Makes war with the rest of her children. And who are her children called, by the way? They're people who do two things. They're people who
Keep the commandments of God.
keep God's commands, right?
And hold to the testimony of Jesus.
Hold to testimony of Jesus.
17.
Yeah, she did a great job. Yep, yep. So she flees, the woman flees, gives the wind, the dragon's trying to drown her with the water, the earth swallows it up, and he is enraged, he makes war with the rest of her children. If you want to see my comical drawing, I'll show you. Mine is very rudimentary, very. Here's my stick figure, it's just, yeah, this is much. I did the licking lips because she wanted to devour. I did put the horns on I distributed them to the heads, but whatever, I think. And then, yeah, this is like a comic book. So I got comic book, she's got like a nice children's book or something. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, so we just, yeah.
Except that it scared my grandson when I told him about the dragon when he was 7.
Oh, did it?
His eyes got huge.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, Mom, I'm scared."
Oh, yeah,
At 6
yeah.
years old.
So the bottom,
Things for us to see someday at IMAX theater.
Oh, yeah.
so this stuff has not happened yet, right?
So that is where I actually put a question mark, because that was actually in my margin. Here's what I have in my margin. I have this.
I don't know that Israel's fleet. to the
Yeah, and I
wilderness
have
yet.
past versus future question mark, because,
Okay,
yeah, well,
I know. Go
The
ahead.
child that was taken there.
yeah,
Right.
that's it, yeah.
I know who that is. Like,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
who this woman is representing and all
Yeah.
of that, but I haven't seen her flee to the wilderness, nor have we had a flood where the earth
Right,
opens
so
up to
maybe
save her.
like
So
in
it's like,
Daniel, we had
hey.
things that have already happened, but things that haven't happened yet. So I think that's what we're dealing with, is we're dealing with some of these things have happened and some have not.
And it might
happened
have
yet.
just been that
Yeah.
when John is, saying what he sees the Lord's giving, so that people recognize, okay, when you see the woman in a story, this is who it represents. If
Yeah.
you see the dragon in a story, this is who it represents. That's how I'm kind of seeing this a little bit, because it's like, go back and forth and we're like,
That's what gets confusing. I
for
think
someone
when
with a
we look at
linear
Revelation.
line.
Yeah,
Look at this as every now and then, the world, the seals and the trumpets and the bowls pause, and then he gives us kind of a preview and an overview of what is to come. So that when it does happen, we've already been, it kind of introduces the characters to the
That's a
next
good way
scene.
to look
Yeah.
at it. Oh, that's a good way to look
And
at
then
it.
it says in verse 12,
Okay.
it gives us the warning to let us know that these things haven't happened. It says, woe to the earth and the sea, for the devil has great wrath, knowing his time is short. So we've already kind of heard that, and we know that 2 woes are past.
yeah,
And
exactly.
so there's one more woe.
One more will come.
So that
So
war
then-
in heaven with Michael.
It's still going on.
Yeah,
That's how I'm.
that's a question,
Yes.
that's a
Hasn't
question
actually
mark
been-
you want to,
It hasn't actually gotten.
what I would do is question, because when we go into in-depth at 12, we'll probably be talking about what has happened and what's still gonna
Well,
happen.
because from Daniel too, we know he's up there still accusing in front of the
Mhm.
throne, blah, blah, blah. We haven't gotten the,
Yeah, but he's also here. He's
He's
warring
here,
here.
yeah.
but he hasn't been kicked out of heaven, is he going back and forth?
He can still.
Well, he can roam to and
He
fro
can access to
about
the
the
throne.
earth, because the book of Job says he's roaming to and fro
Yeah,
about
and
the
he
earth.
might have access.
But he still has access to heaven, to the throne, yeah.
That's
But
what it
here
looks
is what he wants.
This one sounds like he's
It sounds like
finally
it's
kicked
done.
out, and now the kingdom
No
of God
space
can
for you.
start.
Right.
So, what were you gonna say, Kathy?
I was just gonna make a point that we use the word then, a lot of times tells us sequence,
Mhm.
but not time frame.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
So
then
when
a
it
sequence and
says,
not time frame,
woman
yeah.
gave birth and the child was caught up to the ground,
Mhm.
then the woman fled into the wilderness.
Yeah.
Well, we know it was after, but we don't know the time frame.
Right.
of when
So it's
she
after
fled.
But it's a
Jesus.
sequence, you're
Haven't
saying it's a
seen it yet.
sequence, it's a
Okay.
sequence, but it just hasn't necessarily
Right.
happened yet, so it's more in sequence,
We know
yeah.
the order, we just don't know. the
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
And this is what we had in Daniel, because we had Daniel where it's like, okay, we got to here, and we know this all happened, but we're still waiting for that 70th week, so yeah. To me, it's very similar, it's very similar, but yeah. But this is, this is where I put questions, and hopefully when we get in depth of 12, we'll talk about what's happened and what's to come. Yeah, so good. We go to Revelation 13, if we're ready. Do you have? You can, such a nice, anybody else want to volunteer there? They're welcome to. Anybody? I think everybody sees Christians and says it's so nice.
Different perspectives.
I know it is good. Yeah, everybody said it was helpful to do that last week. Oh, Kathleen, yes, we'll have Kathleen share hers.
Right.
Oh, Kathleen, oh, look at that. That's nice. Okay. Kathleen's going to share hers.
All right.
Yeah, so we've got some. So we have things in Revelation 13. There's a main, there's two main players. We do start with the dragon on the
Seashore.
on the seashore. But what comes out? This is the first character of two that we see in 13. What is it? It is a
Beast.
It is a beast.
Comes out of the sea.
Yeah, so it comes from the sea. Let's see. These verses.
I guess we're assuming this is after the dragon has been banned from
Yeah,
heaven.
because well, if we're reading chronologically,
Sequentially,
because it has
yeah.
then, it starts like he's on the seashore and then this happens. So he's on Earth and he's still supposed to be making war against their children.
Yeah.
This is how he's gonna do
Yeah,
it. I
because
gotta
if
get
he's
some more
on
help.
the earth, then he's on the shore. So he is physically on earth. So yeah, I think they're.
I feel these
yeah,
kind of go
I think
kind of
it's
back
a
to
good
that.
point. So, yeah. So beast, we know this all verse 1 through 8 comes out of the sea. What else does it say about him? He's got
10 horns, 7 heads.
7 heads,
So
but
we've already been introduced to him in
That's
12.
right.
Okay.
Kind of describe that character.
yeah, similar. So the beast, similar to the dragon, but not the dragon, does have 7 heads. How many, but he has
10 horns,
10 horns,
but
but he has also 10 crowns. That's the difference, right?
on the horns are the crowns.
Yes, yeah, crowns. Yeah, so the horns, 10 horns with 10 crowns,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah,
On the horns were 10.
yeah,
crowns,
so
yeah.
on the horns were 10 crowns, and this we're just seeing heads with crowns, heads and horns, yes. But this one, the crowns are on the horns. That's interesting when we, especially we talked to Daniel about the little horn and what that might
But
have
it's
something to
the
do with.
same, it's the same dragon that is in what described.
Yeah, this is the dragon.
Yes.
The dragon is giving, this dragon is giving
The beast.
the beast is, the dragon, because what we find, what is this beast relationship to the dragon? That's a good place to lead it. What is his relationship to the dragon?
Are you doing the beast that comes out of the sea or the?
Yeah, this right here, yeah.
Okay.
So there's a dragon on the shore and the beast comes out of the sea, 7 heads, 10 horns with 10 crowns.
Mhm.
And then we've got, and his heads have what on it? Heads have
Blasphemous. names.
blasphemous names. Yeah, so blasphemous names on his 7 heads.
The dragon gives him authority.
Yeah, so that's how he and the dragon are related. He gets authority from the dragon. So you see they're related. So like you see that, yeah. So he's almost like breathing on it, looks like giving him his authority. That's a good way to do it, Kathleen. It's an authority. Yeah, and it describes the beast, which I thought was interesting. How does it describe his body?
Like a leopard.
Leopard body. What does his legs look like?
Feet. Well, feet are like a bear.
Bear feet.
Mouth like a
mouth
lion.
I thought this was interesting. When we did Daniel's study, we had the beast coming out. One was a leopard, one was a bear, they all had those aspects. So I thought that was interesting. I wonder, I'm just that question mark that I wonder if that'll be significant somehow. It's just, I didn't notice that. It's given a power and authority of dragon, authority and power from dragon
And the throne.
and throne. Sorry about my small writing. So this is like his dragon is empowering this guy. Yeah. And what do we find out about one of these heads of this beast? What happens to one of the heads?
Has one head as if slain.
Yep.
And its fatal wound was healed. And it says, and verse 14 tells you it was a wound of the sword.
Yeah, yeah, I did notice that, a sword, yeah. One head is slain and then healed, right?
That's that ugly red mark. On the
Yeah,
one
that's
piece.
right. Kathy put that.
Yeah, I have a little like red X.
One of the heads, yeah, because at the base of the head, that would knock the head off, yeah, head as if slain. I wonder, it said, does it say, yeah. And here's the interesting thing, as if it had been slain, so that's interesting. Remember, he deceives the whole world, so maybe it was kind of a fake
As if.
assassination or
As
something.
if. Yeah.
As
That's a
if.
good point.
But really, that's what I was thinking, yeah, when you said that, I was like, with all the, sleight of hand we can do and deep fakes we can do, I wouldn't be surprised. And holographs, I wouldn't be surprised. It appeared that he was slain and assassinated, and oh, look, he's back. Right, with all our.
That would be true. That's a good thing, because see, the devil doesn't have power over life.
He really doesn't.
Life,
See,
so
that
you
he does
can't-
not.
Unless God's allowing this, because it's part of the.
And so you see, to me, what I see is a fake resurrection, a fake death and a fake
Well, yes,
resurrection.
there's
'Cause
always a
Satan always
counterfeit. Yep.
counterfeits. There's the Father, there's his Son, and see, he died and came back to life. See, it's very, very much like Satan.
That's creative.
No, exactly. He really doesn't have, yeah, exactly. And so so the head is if slain, wounded, then healed, but how does the world react to it? People on earth,
They
what do
are
think about it?
amazed.
Yep.
And they follow
They're
the
amazed.
beast, and they worship both the dragon and the beast.
Follow and worship dragon and the beast, yeah. So they worship dragon and the beast. I guess they know he's, he causes.
It's interesting because you have Jesus who did die and come back to life, and people were like, nah, nah, nah. And now you're gonna have the entire world looking at this fakery. I kind of like the counterfeit part there, and being so amazed that they just,
Yeah, exactly.
they
I
had to
think
wait
what-
for the era of TV, I suppose.
I mean,
The internet.
I think we've seen the power of that this
Yeah.
past year.
Yeah.
A whole mesmerization of people, masses.
Yes.
You can just go, so looking at this, I'm like, I can see that happening pretty easily.
Mhm. We needed to have the tech. Got it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So he was slain, resurrected, was worshipped by the world. That's how they reacted. And then what is he given authority to do? Well, what is he given authority to do?
Make war with the saints and overcome them for 42 months,
The saints.
and given authority over every nation, tribe, etc.
Yes. So he has authority, and you said 42 months, right?
Yep,
That's-
42 months.
42 months.
So we learned about that in Daniel
So-
also.
Which is 3.5
Has a short time, see, he comes to earth, he only has a short time. Short
I
time,
don't know why I
42
couldn't just
months,
stick
yeah.
to one time and just keep
I
using
know,
the same
yeah,
thing
it's
over and
so
over. Why we have to have
40
variety?
42 months is 3.5.
If you, yeah, it's 3.5 years and 12,
days.
it's about 1260 days too.
Well, the Jewish.
So I think what they're trying to, yeah, 42 months. Because I think what they're commenting, 42 months, 3.5 years, and 1260 days are all the same time frame. So when you see that these are kind of interchangeable, or there's the same way of saying, there are three different ways of saying the same thing, basically. Yeah. So yeah, he's got active 42 months. He's gonna make, and he's got authority, makes war with saints, and it's authority over every tribe, but pretty much over the whole world, over peoples of the world.
I marked that word given.
Yep.
And
Yes,
it's
given.
all related to the time frame. It's
It
always
was,
given.
it was given to him.
Yeah.
Given. And I think I'm gonna put that quote, was given to him,
Yeah, I started.
which
marking
means he
all my
doesn't
givens.
possess it.
I
It was
would see
given to
that.
him.
Like it's
That
all
was a
over the
good
place,
point,
who's
Susan.
giving what to who.
He doesn't possess it, it was given to him. So even the authority he has, and he also speaks arrogant words. Words and blasphemies. Who does, and blasphemes, who does he blaspheme?
heaven, temple.
God, his name is Tabernacle. Tabernacle, which is in heaven. That's who dwells in heaven.
What verse is that?
That is verse, yeah, 6.
6.
Yeah.
Oh, how did I miss that?
He has authority. 5 and 5 and 7. This is 5 and 7. Sorry about that. And it says those on earth again are going to fall and worship him, and we know that these people do not have their names in the book of life. I'll put BOL for book of life. So that's something they give, information they give us about him. They don't have.
What verse is that?
Verse 8. Yeah, no, that's BOL's book of life. So I went on to verse, we see something else happening from verses 11 through 17. We see something else coming out too. Another beast.
Of the land.
Yeah.
The second picture?
Yeah, she'll have to move it.
Oh, it's at the bottom, okay.
She,
I
oh,
didn't know-
yeah.
I didn't know if
Yep.
you had it on the separate page.
So that's her, yes. Now she's got the second one. I show this to people watching online. There's her second, there's her nether beast coming out of the earth. See, this one she had coming out of the sea, and this one she has coming out of the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I like the purple too. I colored mine in purple too. It's kind of like a prophet, or royalty like a prophet too, like speaking. So another beast, okay, 11 through 17. What do we find out about this other beast? You look at Kathleen's drawing and see.
2 horns like a lamb.
2 horns like lamb, yeah.
Yes.
As a
Spoke as a dragon,
Sounding like he's getting his words from the devil.
yeah, exactly.
Kind of like
Spoke as
God gets
dragon,
his
yeah,
words to
exactly.
the prophets.
Yeah, exactly, just like God sends his word, that's a good point.
I noticed a lot of, like the lamb. So that Jesus is the lamb. So now we kind of look like a lamb, and we kind of have horns like the lamb. We're kind of like,
See that? See that?
not exactly, but close.
Exactly. Yeah, he spoke as a dragon, so he's kind of got the mark of it, just like Jesus said, I speak the words the Father gives me. He speaks the words that, so we've seen it of the dragon.
So we'll like have a similar hierarchy.
Oh, you're talking, almost like you're talking about, he's almost like a prophet of the dragon. It's not, I don't think it's
Too far off,
It's very
probably.
not far off at all. Absolutely. And what more do we hear about him? See from, so what else does he do? He speaks like a dragon. Whose authority does he have? He has authority of,
The first beast,
okay,
when he's in his presence.
okay, yeah, a first beast, his presence.
But he makes the whole earth
Yeah.
worship.
His main things that he does is he makes the words, makes earth worship the beast. And what does he specifically make them do? Makes them to, it's in verse 14. In verse 14, he makes them do
Yeah,
what?
to make
Causes
an
them
image,
what?
to
Make
make
an
an
image.
image to the beast.
Yep. Causes them to make an image to the beast.
And here's the creepy part for me. This image then is gonna talk and
Yeah.
do stuff.
But we also learn that he has some gift of miracles, doesn't he? He can do, or signs.
Yeah.
He's able to do what?
Call fire from heaven
Fire from heaven,
and breathe life, give
Yep.
breath to the image of the beast.
and then breathe life into beasts. So, yeah.
He's an excellent social media. person.
Yeah, I bet you.
Yeah.
Really is. I bet he won't get kicked off of Twitter. Because he's in charge of Twitter, but that's another thing. Don't get me started, but anyway. Yeah, he will have a Twitter account and he'll be all over the place, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure. Yeah, so he's gonna make the image come alive somehow.
Yep.
But again, seeing our technology and hologram and deep fakes, I can totally see how this could happen with our technology. It's like,
Well, if you have the first beast, why do you need an image of the first beast?
well, why do we need an image? What do you think?
Well, because that's what they're worshiping. Like
But,
it's an
but
idol.
can the beast physically be everywhere?
No, it's
Oh, that's a good
like the
point.
idols.
That's a good
That's
point.
how I say, yeah. So if the beast, because the beast is contained in a person, right?
Mhm.
Or, you know,
Yeah.
whatever, or a thing.
So they have to have an image that's everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's his presence everywhere.
It's kind of like the way they did the ancient gods. They
Mhm,
had
yeah,
temples,
yeah,
they had them in their
temples,
house, it was
Yeah.
everywhere.
Right. So that
Probably be on the corner of your TV all the
So
time.
that's, it's kind of a way to have omnipresence, right? You can
Mhm.
have your little image everywhere, and with our technology, breathe life into the image.
You can certainly see it now.
And it says the image to the beast says what? He causes those who say, I
That
wanna
don't worship to be killed.
Yes, so, yes. So those who don't worship, verse 15, those who say, no, no, no.
So
who
those would
don't
be some of
worship.
the people that overcome.
Yeah, and we'll see them later, yeah, we'll see them on a glass sea. Don't worship.
Like in
So this isn't just,
Daniel.
yeah, this isn't just one of those things, what's your thing, you know, if you don't want to worship, no big deal. It's like, no, if you don't do it, you will die.
Mhm.
We're seeing this kind of heavy-handedness right now. I think this is a predecessor for what's coming. If you don't do this, it's coercion. It's like, you're actually gonna die, you're gonna be killed.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So that's in verse 15. Don't worship what you're killed. So basically, there's pressure on humanity that, well, you know, you can choose not to worship, but you're gonna die. We're gonna kill you. And also, what's the other pressure on humanity? What does
The
he also
mark.
make the earth do?
Given the mark
Mhm.
on either their right hand or their forehead. So you can't buy or sell without it. So if you manage to hide that you're not worshiping, you then
Yeah.
can't go to the store.
This is what counts.
Oh, yeah. Forehead, or I think it specifically said right hand.
Yes, right.
Forehead or right hand, get a mark on the right hand of their forehead, that's verse 16. Why? Because
And similarly, you know
in
that,
other words, they need to buy and they need to sell, basically to live, buy and sell.
Right.
and you have a similarity with, you know, that the God sealed the 144,000 on their foreheads.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's, okay, so so we do notice a contrast, these people are getting a mark on their forehead and on their hand. We have another people who've been marked for God, that we
And
saw
they're
over here in
safe.
chapter 7, yeah. We have two different kinds of markings.
Yeah.
Those who are for God, those who now have sealed their alliance with the beast. Yeah, so basically the pressure is, you don't worship, you'll be killed, and you're not gonna be able to probably eat. If you can't buy or sell unless you can barter, you're probably not gonna survive very long, because everybody's gonna be going along with this.
And the mark.
Yeah, and it says, yeah, so it says, it says a mark, or it says, actually, it's a mark, or it's a, yeah.
It's
so-
The name of the
So it
beast,
says
the
mark, the name of the beast or number of his name. So
Or
the
number
mark
of
is
his
the
name.
name
Mhm.
or the number of his name.
Mhm.
So, and it says those who have understanding to calculate it.
I'm guessing once things start happening, we can
Yeah.
do some math. Some of
Yeah,
those people
exactly.
that are really good with all the figures and
It's a number of a man, it's a number of man. No, it's 666. Yeah, when it's calculated, it says, those who have wisdom, I think it says that, here's wisdom, let him have understanding, calculate the number. Number of a man, it's 666, but. So,
All these people that are getting killed are gonna be beheaded, correct?
possibly, and I think anything, there might be, I think there's probably many ways that they could die. I mean, I think they will be beheaded, but I think there'll be other things too. I think it's-
what makes you think they'll be beheaded?
Well, I think
Just in
because you talked
general.
about those who have been, I think you were talking about those who've been beheaded. Was that in chapter 5? Was that the one about the martyrs who had been beheaded or something like that?
Oh,
Yeah, I think you're
Okay.
talking about.
Oh, and I'm thinking about the left behind books.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, That kind of, yeah, exactly.
Katie will tell you, don't get your
Yeah,
theology
yeah,
out of the
that's
Left
right,
Behind
that's right,
series.
that's right.
No, but it sure can put you in today's world.
Yes.
Because I would think, how can all this happen? But that made it, I
much more believable.
We had TV. but
And I'm not
special
sure,
effects are not
it
good,
doesn't
like
say
you
how
said.
they're gonna die. It could
But
be
now
beheaded, but
special
it'll be,
effects are so
you know, they'll be
good.
killed somehow, whether it's
You have
beheading
no
or something
idea.
else.
It's
There'll probably be
actually
many
hide and
ways.
seek now. You could just superimpose them in there. Nobody would ever know. Like, there's just all kinds of ways to like,
Yeah, and I think some of them will die because they're gonna starve. Can't buy,
Right.
can't sell, you're gonna starve.
Right.
You'll die that way. So, yeah, it's gonna be very hard to.
so definitely help when we do the timeline.
Yeah.
Because there's
Timeline,
like,
yeah, that's what Kale.
where is this
I
falling
think
in with
next
the
part. Yeah, the
trumpet
trumpets, yeah.
land?
It's
Because-
coming, it's coming. The timelines are coming. We're here just doing overview, but yeah, Katie
so
Katie
hard
said,
to
that I know it's hard to, because you're trying to put it out and process it, I know. I think we're just trying to gather information right now, but.
Yeah.
And just trying to start making associations between things and people, so.
I should put it.
Well, thanks Kathleen for doing this, and I think, thank you, thanks for sharing.
13. So now we are
Yeah,
on
13, so we can move on. Actually, that time the clock is not working.
No, it is, you have plenty of time. It's
Okay,
10:13.
I just don't want to do like I did last week. And go over. That's not a good thing.
It's okay.
Okay, we can move on to Revelation 14 now. We have,
That's a lot.
this is at least a pleasant thing happening instead of
Well,
nasty drag. So anybody have 14 you want to share? If not, I'll do mine, but anyway. Oh, you have yours. Okay, yours is usually superior to mine. So. Yeah, 14, all right. Maybe we'll turn this back on. I'll show the people at home how
I'm a little
Kristen.
confused about
Oh, why is it
14,
not?
so-
Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Just so y'all at home can see, there's her drawing. There's Kristen's drawing. So, okay. That's okay. Just so y'all can see, so you know what we're referring to. This might give you an idea of how someone else drew it. All right. Okay. So yeah, we have something, let's see, going on in 14. We have kind of something that appears to be going on in heaven. I'll do it in blue. This is, we have, who's it? Who do we see?
The lamb.
the lamb,
Okay, the lamb, yeah. We got the lamb. And who's with him?
144,000.
He's with 144,000. What are they doing? They're in front of the,
I guess this is in
Jesus,
trumpet, right?
with a new song.
yes, yeah, new song, a new song. Sing a new, and them and the lamb, they sing a new song.
So this 144,000 are dead in heaven.
Yeah, this is what it appears that there's a shift, yeah, that there's now there, because very likely these, they're, because, yeah, they would very likely not take the mark, I'm sure because they're sealed for God, so.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, they were protected. so
They're
I think
protected.
God just took them up.
maybe so, yeah, maybe so. But now we just see them, because earlier they were sealed. In chapter 7, they were sealed while they're on earth, but now we see them in front of the throne singing, song, new song. And I think it was unknown to anybody else, that only they knew. Yeah, so they're in front of the throne singing a song that only that they knew. In front of the throne. My question was, how could they be standing on Mount Zion and throne?
Right.
But I think that there's something about that. I'm not sure. I have a question about that. If there's like a holy or heavenly Mount Zion or something, that's what I was
Yeah,
wondering.
it's in heaven.
Yeah,
That's what I got.
that's
too,
how I
so it
thought
would be
too.
like-
Sarah and Hannah was like, well, Mount Zion. So
Because
I-
it hasn't descended
think-
yet.
it appears to be this is something happening in heaven, singing a new song. And then it talks about the people, these men that they've been followed with women, they're chaste, they follow the lamb, and they're blameless with
And there's
no
no
lie.
lie.
So these are, yes, men of good character, basically, very good character. All right. And so we have the 144,000 singing in heaven. And then we have,
And God
Three
on
different-
his throne
and God is on his throne, yes.
with the four
And creatures.
Elders. We're back to the throne room.
Yeah, they sang a new song before the throne, the four living creatures. Yeah, there's a throne, and we saw the four living creatures, and then the 24 elders. Yeah, we all did.
And he heard a voice from heaven. Yeah, but we don't know if that's an angel.
Yeah, I actually
I just
write it, I just keep it, I like make a little blurb, like.
Yeah.
I have
words
just
coming
put
out.
in purple voice.
Yeah,
Purple
that's
is
it,
just
yeah.
like, for
Mhm.
heaven for
Yeah,
me, so.
that's how I just mark.
I'm like,
marking
it doesn't
out the voice.
say who it is.
There's a lot of voices, like, if you notice, there's a lot of angels, a lot of voices.
There's a
from heaven.
lot of
A lot of them.
quote
So,
people,
yeah,
I would say
yeah,
people,
there's a
whatever you
lot.
want, beings.
But there's
up
a
in
lot of
heaven.
angels who do
lot.
God's work, so. um,
Who knows which,
Voice from heaven, yeah, it was like the sound, yeah, I heard voice from heaven, sound of many waters, yeah,
Mhm.
and harpist. Did you put that one on there? I think I put.
My voice is up there next to the temple where it just says,
Oh, yeah,
right,
boy,
blessed
yeah,
are.
okay.
blah, blah.
That's a pretty temple. That looks really nice. Okay, so we've got here, but here's where we're at right now is the Lamb,
Mhm.
Mount Zion with 144,000, the new song. So that's where we're at right now. Okay.
Yeah, there's no
And then we have something kind of going into now mid-heaven. We have some angels, right? We got some angels coming. We have many angels. We have
three specifically.
three specifically angels. We have a first angel that's flying in mid-heaven in verses 6 and 7.
Mhm.
And he is doing what? Angel with, what does he basically have?
Well, he has an eternal gospel
Eternal
to preach.
gospel. Uh-huh.
And then he's telling them to fear God,
Yep.
give glory because the hour of judgment has come.
So fear God.
He's still in the seventh trumpet.
Well, so we know this is past and this second is past, but yeah, I
But
think
then we're in the
we'll come.
signs. Okay.
I think we're going to come to that. I really think, yeah, I think
Okay.
that's coming. I think it's coming. So angel eternal God, fear God, give him glory.
I didn't know if we were still in intermission.
Well, it seems like we are kind of pausing, like we're, yeah, I mean, yeah, we
It's
are.
like setting all the stages.
Yeah, exactly. Fear God, give him glory, and it's out, this is like hour of judgment has come.
So he's in mid-heaven. So who's he talking to?
I just think they're flying over there.
I think they're
which is how
flying
I
over
look
the
at
air, they're in
and
mid-heaven,
yelling.
like they're in the air.
Yeah.
I saw those birds flying over like warning, like
Yeah.
that eagle that goes in mid-heaven that says, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
That's how I saw them.
Yeah, they're like,
And here, if you look at it,
just
you got this guy coming on the scene, he's adding all these signs and wondering people are going, wow, get the mark of the beast, and they're going, wait. So I think this is happening concurrently. Wait, fear God, give him glory, his judgment's coming, so,
still got a chance.
yeah, that's how I see it, and
then the second.
Second
angel
one, yeah.
tells us what's coming.
I'll put first angel just to make it, second angel says,
Fallen.
Fallen is Babylon, yep. and as Kathleen is talking about, this is something to come, is Babylon. I see him as making a declaration from heaven.
It's always
Basically,
looked at it like,
fallen is Babylon the Great.
God says it, then it
Yeah.
happens. So Babylon's done. Now I'm gonna show you how.
Fallen is Babylon the Great. And so he's declaring that Babylon is fallen, okay? And then the third one, we get another warning, a third angel does what?
If anyone worships the beast and receives the mark, he will drink of the wine of the wrath of God. 9 to 10.
So here this guy is doing this and you're like, don't do this, because if you do, it's pretty much, it's basically saying you're gonna burn in hell. Essentially what he's saying, you're gonna be, you're gonna have the wrath of God, eternal torment. Yeah, so wrath of God, eternal torment.
This is why you can tell it's an intermission describing what is to come.
Yes, right.
Because you still don't have everybody having the mark for making
Right.
choices yet.
Yeah,
Because
so I think
everybody's
these are
got a doubt.
concurrent,
That's
these are
true.
going on, because this is, why would he be announcing it after this is all done, right? It'd be too late, so
Right.
there clearly is, going on along with this, it's,
John could organize a little bit more linear. He could have just
Yeah.
plugged it in.
but I heard that Middle Easterners don't think linearly, I heard they think circular. Yeah,
It
so
could
that's
be.
where he comes from, so they're kind of more of a circular thinker, so, anyway. So,
Well, our left brain, my left brain.
yeah,
thinking is
it
really.
is, yeah.
Evan.
The angel, the eternal gospel, the fallen is Babylon, the third one with the warning. And then we have perseverance of the saints. And again, it might be perseverance of the saints to not get this and to fear God and to, hold fast, not take the mark and very likely be killed for or starve to death or something like that. And and there was a little voice in heaven talked about, right, blessed are
Blessed are
those
the-
who die.
Yeah, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on.
Yeah, who die, yeah, blessed are the ones who die in the, Lord from now on. That's kind of and then we've got a couple of other angels or figures.
Mhm.
Okay, so in verse, we got someone on a
14.
white cloud, verse 14. We have.
Like a son of
Yeah,
man.
one like a son of man, okay. So one like a son of man, and he has a gold crown, right? Does he have a gold crown?
Yeah.
And he's on a cloud.
I know, but.
He's got a gold crown and he's on a cloud,
That's what I thought. That's what I just.
and he's got a sharp sickle in hand,
Mhm.
okay? And he's having a sharp sickle. And this one like the son of man is told by another voice. It looks like we've got a voice coming out of the temple, right? A voice from the angel. It's actually not a voice. It's an angel from temple.
Yeah, the angel that came out.
From temple. He's telling the one like the son of man to what? To put in your sickle and reap.
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 The hour to reap has come.
Yet another. I have time phrases all over my drawings. Hour to reap has come. Reap has come. The hour to reap has come, and then this son of man, he reaps.
Yeah.
Pretty much, he reaps.
But they don't say what he reaps.
You
Puts
can
it
tell
down.
that was the one on the cloud was the son of man, not only Jesus, not only because they called him that, but that angel is from the temple, so he's right there
Oh,
yeah.
by Jesus. And Jesus.
Very likely.
is
And we could,
holding up his
our
staff.
question could be, who is this? Is this Jesus? If not, that could be a question mark. Some people think, and is that Jesus? It possibly could be, because he's from
Well,
that
there's
area.
And when I also
I-
look at, the angels are giving instructions. So it doesn't mean that God isn't sending the message to say, let my
Yeah,
son
right.
know it's time.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
Yeah.
just sending up all these things. Because there's a lot of angels going out and being dispatched right now to go do stuff.
So we have the one like a son of
But we don't
man.
know what is real.
I have, in regard to whether he's Jesus or not, I have put a question mark by that. But I haven't made that conclusion, but I have a feeling when we go over this, we're going to talk about why, talk specifically about that. But one like a son of man, but he certainly would have the power to read,
Mhm.
to judge. So, and have a crown on his head. Yeah. So hour to reap has come. He reads, but then there's more that happens. Now we've got another angel too. We have a
Fifth angel puts
Who does
in
the
his
Lord-
sickle
Yeah.
at the command of the sixth angel.
so.
gathers the clusters and throws them.
So this was another so now we have there's a lot of angels here to keep up with. Another angel from the temple. I don't think it's the same one who did this, but another one from the temple. Now he has a sharp sickle also.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he's got a sharp sickle. And this one's, so that's number 17. Then we got another angel calling again. Now we got the angel from the fire, I think, from the altar, right?
Mhm.
The fire. From altar with power over fire.
So that's 6 angels so far, right?
Yeah, and he orders the
Yes.
fifth angel to reap.
Six,
Yeah.
yes. There's,
Yes.
I have 6
Did you
different
say
angels on my
fifth? Because
drawing.
that's the fourth, that's the fifth.
3 that give messages,
Yeah.
5 give messages. So 3
Yeah,
to
so,
the earth,
yeah,
1
that's
to,
three.
one like
This
son of
one
man,
away,
and
this
1
is
to
a
another
fourth
angel.
And this would be a fifth angel from the temple with the sickle, and then you've got a sixth one
It tells them what to
telling
do.
what to do.
Tell
Yeah,
them,
so
fine.
and basically he's saying, gather the clusters of the earth.
Mhm.
So you gather clusters of earth. for the grapes of wrath. Grapes of
And there's where you get the grapes of wrath.
Yeah, grapes of wrath, yeah. And that's in verse 18. So now this angel does put in the sickle, and this is, and so he does, and so the angel does gather the grapes, the clusters, so to speak.
Mhm.
And then what does this angel do with those clusters? Where does it get put?
In the great wine press of the wrath of God.
So we now have a wine press. So all these clusters are going into the wine press of the wrath of God. I think you did a really nice job on the wine press.
Oh, there.
There it is, yeah. So she's got it.
I don't remember the
Gather the clusters, and there's the wine press. They're put in the wine press. And yeah, so wine press, and what happens as a result, it's kind of graphic here. Well, it's trodden outside the city.
Do we know what city that is?
Well, that's a good question. There is one city that seems to be mentioned this whole time, right? You may, I don't know,
Babylon
I
is
think
the
it might
only-
be.
Babylon's the only
Well,
city that's mentioned.
But the
right?
witnesses, remember they
Oh,
thought the
they're in
witnesses
Jerusalem.
were in the city, they were laid dead in the city and said where their Lord was crucified, where,
Okay.
so it could be that city where Lord was crucified, which we assume.
Jerusalem.
Yeah, could be.
Everything. remember,
And outside the
everything
city,
takes place around
Jerusalem, yeah.
And townspeople. and
I
And
thought it
remember
was-
too, in their minds, anything outside the city is unclean. Blood's unclean, death is unclean.
Well, that's
Jesus was
certainly
cru-
unclean.
Jesus was crucified outside the city. That would make sense outside of
Yes.
Jerusalem.
Yes.
It would. So very, very possibly, we're talking about
Okay.
the same city, which would very likely be Jerusalem. I didn't write it here, but
Okay.
the way it described the city sounded like Jerusalem.
Okay.
But outside the city, that would make perfect sense because that's where all the unclean things are like that. Well, now we've got blood, and we got blood. So it's kind of
Comes out.
comes out of the lungs up. Yeah, so now we got blood, we got a lot of blood.
Hey,
It
nods.
goes up to how many miles?
200
Oh,
miles
200.
and long, and the depth is up to a horse's bridle.
Yeah, so
That is a lot.
200 miles of blood and it goes
That's a
up
lot
to
of
horse's bridle, yeah.
It's a lot of people, because they have like 5 pints, is that right? What we have in our body? Average person,
Yeah.
5 pints of blood.
I
That
hope
is
y'all
a
can see that, but yeah. Horse's bridle is right here too. It's that part
That's
that
a
goes right
lot.
here. So you got all the way up to a horse. So that's probably like the way up, yeah. like up here.
200
200 miles, yeah.
Gelatinous.
Yeah.
It's, ugh.
Yeah.
And the
That was just
smell
big,
would
yeah.
be so bad.
Yeah,
Oh, my.
I know. I know. Exactly. Well, good, yeah. So she did it. She did the blood and trodden outside. and so I'll show the people at home that can see. So she showed about the wine press and then the blood that went for 200 miles up to horse's bridle. So very good. All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Do you want to share? Anybody want to share their 15, chapter 15?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's always like we talked
Well,
last
so
time,
the
how all
15
these
and
things
all?
happen, and they're like, even so, they don't repeat. They're like, nope, nope.
The vast majority.
Anybody have 15 they want to share? If not, I'll share mine, but
I don't have a computer. I just have my angels. I just run
you're
over
gonna
them all
have
the
to, we're
time.
going back to very rudimentary drawings. then.
10
Mine are
to 12 pints.
Yeah, we had 10 to 12 pints of blood in our body.
10 to 12 pints. Wow.
And then
So how, if you like do math, like how many people
I'm
would
gonna
take
put
a
this-
barrel, let's say? So that's,
when it's.
Just showing you that, just a quick thing of what I drew for this chapter 15, just to so y'all can see. Mine's very much a stick drawing now,
it's kind of,
just so you can see how kind of I drew it, but I'm gonna put back to here so we can see. Actually, we're gonna have to go over it this way.
I think I could get 15 done. It was pretty short.
Yeah, 15, like I said, when I saw it on one
One
page, I was like, yes. yay. I turned around, I was like, "Wang, yes, it was done. So this takes a lot out of me, and you know, it takes a lot out of you to sit
It's
down. and
really
draw
got
it.
focus. And
Yeah,
you're gonna
you
see,
like
like,
to
because later
focus.
on, like I drew
Yeah.
when I first started sketching out, I drew the temple, and then later it's like, is a temple in heaven? Like, oh, okay, we did draw it because
Yeah.
you have to
I
move
would
it.
always start in pencil because I'm like, I want to write, because
Yeah.
if I do that, I don't do it in pen. I'm like, I will have to. do
It
this.
really makes you dig into detail.
Yeah, that's it. It hones in your observation
And that's
skill,
why not
exactly
having the
what
answer
you're
gets
doing.
Problematic.
It does.
Yeah, yeah, you know what's right. Yeah. 15, we have also more signs in heaven, so I guess I'll do this included. We have sign in heaven. Sign in heaven.
So this will be number 3 song.
Yep. So we did have the previous, that's a good point. We had the previous 2 signs in heaven. You had the woman and the dragon. Right, the dragon. Now we have another sign in heaven. And that is going to be the what?
The
The
angels.
7 angels or 7 angels with what?
7 places,
7 legs.
which are bowls.
And you can, then, I think bowls you can use interchangeably. You'll see that they're actually bowls. But what is it? There's a significant time phrase. In them, the wrath of God is.
Finished.
In other words, once these are done, the wrath of God is finished.
Yay. I don't know how anybody's alive.
Okay. And we see also another sign in heaven related to here, what had happened in 13. What do we see? We see a sea with, who's in it? Sea of glass and fire.
Those who've been victorious over the beast in his image.
We got those victorious over the beast. So in what way were they victorious?
Probably were killed.
You get a mark.
They probably were, they didn't get their victorious, they didn't get the mark,
Yeah.
but they were killed for it, but they were
Mhm.
victorious because they won't take part of the second death, right? They'll be right, part of the first resurrection. Victorious over the beast and the image,
Mhm.
and they got hearts of God, and so they got hearts of God, and they sang.
The Song of
Song of
Moses.
Sang the Song of Moses. List the song. She lists the song in verses 3 to 4.
And that song is in Exodus.
Oh,
Is
yes,
it? I was
Paul's in
wondering about
Exodus,
that.
yeah.
15:1.
Exodus, so Kathleen is saying Exodus 15:1.
Cool. I knew it had to be somewhere.
Victory. Just like Israel had victory over Egypt, these people had victory over the beast. Has big T, these image and numbers. It's an image. And then after these things, so we have another thing after these things. We see what? We see temple.
Of the tabernacle of testimony.
We've got temple, the temple opened, right?
Temple
Yes.
of the tabernacle.
Yeah, temple, the tabernacle.
Of
Yeah, temple, the tabernacle of testimony in heaven was opened. We have, what's coming out?
And those 7 angels come out. And they're clothed in linen, bright and white, girded around their
There's a
chest with
theme of
gold
bright
and
white linen.
Yep.
White linen, bright white linen.
and they have gold sashes around their chests.
They got gold sashes on chest. Oh, the bright linen, gold.
It's 7.
Yeah.
It's
And
just-
so so on
golden.
this one, yeah, so I think I put my,
Yeah, and the one of the 4 living creatures
Mhm.
gave the 7 golden, gave the bowls out,
Yeah, and the gold, yeah.
full of the wrath of God.
Golden bowl. So one of the LC, we don't know who it is, but we said one of the living creature gives each a bowl of, gives each a golden bowl of God's wrath. Got a golden bowl of God's wrath. So, and then after that, what happens to the temple? once the bowls have been given out, what happens to that?
No one can enter the temple.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
No one
It's
can
filled with smoke from the glory of God, and nobody can enter until the 7 plagues are finished.
Temple's full of smoke for God's glory, and no entrance until the 7th. Can enter till 7 plagues. and 7 Seven. That was it. I was like, I looked, I was like, that's it. Oh, yeah, I know. I was like, oh.
It wasn't a
I
whole lot
I had
more.
not spaced out my drawing. I'm like, oh, I have all this space. I'll just draw a big temple with smoke on it. Yay. Like, it's just like, I can't believe I didn't have anything for my, yeah, so. This is actually one of the cleaner pictures that didn't have so much clutter in it, but. Yeah. All right.
Now we're on to plagues.
Now we're getting into. What's the end of all- Unless anybody has any more comments or questions about number chapter 15.
No, it's actually one that was kind of
It was
easy to
actually, this was
understand.
actually a very nice one. It's like, oh, wow, it's a small.
It kind of,
Less details to, Does anybody want to volunteer their chapter 16? Oh, look, Kathleen. Let's see, Kathleen's bright red. Like that. Okay, ooh, bowls. Oh, okay, good. So she numbered. Okay, so I'll show the people. I'll show y'all at home. This is Kathleen's, what Kathleen did. So she's showing the bowls of wrath, and then she just number them. Yeah, we're numbering left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4. But just one.
Very, very.
Yeah, so we'll start at the top, but I just wanted to show you what
oh yeah,
Kathleen
'cause you
did.
gotta get that 7 trumpet.
Those are
Yeah,
the angels
there we
with
go.
the 7 bowls.
Anyway, that's what Kathleen's
Yeah.
done. Let me turn it back here this way, so you can get on there. Okay, are you seeing it? Okay. So,
Which is the third one.
go pour out okay, so now we're gonna have
It's just making so
this is actually going, it starts in heaven, and they're told, in heaven, they're told to go pour it out.
Mhm.
Go pour out.
So when was the 7th trumpet?
Yeah. That's
When was the 7th trumpet, like, end of what chapter? There
Right
we go.
here.
Okay, so end
So
of
what's it?
11, then we
And
take
what,
a
seventh
hiatus,
trumpet? But the 7th trumpet, I think,
is here.
Is the third.
yeah, third
Yeah,
well.
and it should be that,
And
So,
this is the last thing.
because the
that-
kingdom is now,
Mhm.
he's begun his reign, so we
So
gotta
that
cleanse.
is,
and it says
This
in
is it.
this, it is finished. What did it
Yes,
say? In this,
so-
the wrath of God
So
is
that has to be
finished.
the last thing.
So I think that is a clue.
Okay.
In this, it's finished, yeah.
but I think that, isn't that only four bowls? You'll have to pull it out.
Oh, yeah. I just thought you wanted me to show the top of the page first, so,
Well, that just shows the bowls.
okay.
the angels with the
Yeah,
bowls,
okay, so everybody
and then-
saw that, and then, yeah, we'll go and talk about all the different bowls, so. So we got pieces to pour out this 7 bowls of wrath, kind of give it a hand, give it a count. So now we've got the bowls. So what are the first angels? So I'll put the first, I'll just put first or whatever, first angel or bowl.
Is this
Yeah, first bowl.
Yeah.
At the end of chapter 11, on the bottom, the 7 trumpet sounds, and then they do
I'm just
worship
gonna
at the
put
kingdom of
A,
the
B
world.
for
is now
angel
kingdom
bowl,
of
first
Christ,
angel bowl,
and he's
okay?
going to reign.
So
Well,
what
it
was,
was really all
So,
about
and then-
the bowl.
yeah, it was about the bowl, yeah, second
Then,
angel, yeah. Second and third. The angels
we'll
with
take
the
a
big
hiatus
bowls
of
did have,
science.
the angels with the bowls. So first, okay,
Because we've got seals, trumpets.
and bowls, right.
And so it's not about the angels.
It's, about what
They're
they,
just the.
Yeah, they're just
The
they're just the
angels.
instruments.
They're the
Yes,
angels.
it's always- yeah.
so the
About
first,
bowl.
The first bowl,
so what do we have on the first bowl? It's a,
really bad sores,
yeah,
like loathsome and malignant sores to
Loathsome
everybody that
sore.
has the mark of the beast.
so, yeah.
Um,
And those who mark of the beast.
The non-repenters in this also confuse me.
Yeah,
Just
well,
so-
I think they
we
kinda
talked
seal-
about
I
that
think they kinda
before.
sealed their fate who they are.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Hard.
Yeah,
Guess-
those who mark of the beast or worshipped him. These are people who made an alliance with the beast, by, mark worshiping. So they're full of malignant sores. So you get the malignant sores going. Oh yeah, she did. So she's got people with the sores on. Yeah. Yeah. What do we have in the second? What happens in the second bowl is poured out? And this is
the blood.
yeah, sea of blood. So this is
Every living thing in it dies.
this is on people right here.
Mhm.
Those are people. So actual people. Now it's on this. This is on the
That's the
sea.
salt water, real again.
Turns to blood. And then what happens to
Everything,
Yeah.
every living thing
everything in
dies
sea
this time.
dies? Yep.
As opposed to the third of the fish and creatures and stuff
Oh, that's
early on with the trumpets.
Yeah. So she's pointing out it's getting more severe because last time it was just a third of stuff died. The third is now it's all dead.
Everything, it's
So
done.
there's no food killing from the sea anymore. Yeah. Everything in the sea dies. Yeah, exactly.
Like the seals, it's a quarter of it that is touched. And then in the trumpet, in the, no, in the trumpet.
You're right.
it's,
It gets more and more to a third. Yeah, now it's doing everything. Yeah, so it's getting more and more severe and intolerable.
So I always feels like the kind of like
Increase in intensity and
carried
severity.
off
for sure.
Babylon. We'll do some stuff and take some of you, and then I'm gonna take some more. And go, okay, I'm gonna take you all now. You got like.
And now this
6 years
all,
out.
so now this is affecting what? So we got the
Giving
people,
time. always
the
giving
sea, and what happens now?
there's
Third,
one spring.
fresh water
Yep.
also becoming blood. A lot of smelly earth.
And, yeah, to blood. Now the fresh water, and it's not some, it's all.
Mhm.
All. Yes, fresh water to blood. So rivers, springs of water. So you gotta get some water, it's gonna be all blood. But what's the justification of that? It's like they blood to drink, why?
Punishment. It's punishment.
Karen says blood to drink, they deserved it. In other words, these people that are still alive, a lot of these people were part of the martyrdom of, part of the martyrdom of the saints. And it
Because
says,
they
yeah, you shed their blood, so now you're gonna get the blood to drink and you deserve it. Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
my goodness.
They deserve that, yeah. So God's judgments on them, like, well, you shed blood, you're gonna drink blood.
Not only did they not repent, but they cursed him and blasphemed.
That's what we're gonna see. That's like, yeah. They deserve it, so. Let's see, 4 and 6. So they're kind of getting their just desserts now. They shed others' blood, now they get to drink blood. And the fourth bowl is, for the angel put this bowl on the sun, on the
That's the sun.
the sun.
The
So
man.
yeah, so she got that, and then the sea during the blood. Oh, I like your dead fish over here. That's pretty cool. Looking here, like your animals that beached up or whatever. That's neat.
There's not gonna be any food to eat.
Just the camera just went, okay, it'll focus in a second. Yeah. Hopefully it'll turn on. I don't know. Let's give it a minute. Maybe we see. Okay. So the sun, and then what does the sun do to the people? It's more not so much the sun, what does it do to the
It
people?
scorches them with
Scorches.
fierce heat. It's like living in Texas on
Yeah,
steroids.
exactly. Texas, yeah.
Texas
Like
on
the
steroids.
UV rating,
Oh.
that the UV warning that day is probably off the charts,
Little high today.
Little high today, yeah, the UV rays off the charts. Yeah. so
All
winter
those
storms,
layers
family
gone at this
fierce heat.
point. No protection at all.
And as Kathleen was saying, what do these men do in response? They
Blaspheme God, the name of
blaspheme
God.
God.
Well, because they're mad. They're being,
But
they're grumpy.
But it also says what they didn't do,
They
which says in 9.
didn't repent or
Yeah,
to give
it
him
still
glory.
says he has the power over these plagues. So he could have stopped these. They could have begged for mercy, but they didn't. They're like,
Hmm.
the God who has the power of the plagues, we're gonna curse it.
They did not repent.
Yeah, and it says that, and they did not repent to give him glory. Yeah. No one not acknowledging for his power that, you know, it's a lot of times when God punishes people, they say, oh, you know, it came from your hand, oh, save us, save us. They won't even do that. They're cursing him.
Well, it's a
And they
Green
won't give
New
him
Deal.
glory. Oh,
That's a Green New Deal.
yeah. Green New Deal. Okay. Well, this is gonna be, like I said, the climate change with this. I don't think they'll be able to
Yeah, it is
blame it on
real
the-
climate change.
I don't think they'll be able
You
to
want
blame
some-
it on the-
It's a climate change on steroids. Holy
Exactly,
moly.
exactly.
You and climate change.
Yeah, exactly. Well, before this, we've had so many earthquakes that the islands and the continents have all moved around. I'm wondering if we're going back to Pangea, where
Oh,
everything's
yeah, exactly.
connected, because I always wonder, like, here at the end, we're having war and whatnot, so how, like, for instance,
Yeah.
America and the world
Things
over
might
here.
shift
how
to
do
be
we-
unrecognizable.
involved, so I think
It's probably
everything
gonna
has
be
to come
crazy,
to one
crazy.
landmass.
Crazy, crazy,
Yes.
yeah, there's all sorts of stuff, and because you're talking about earthquakes have already
And
happened.
they talk
things
about
probably
mountains are
just-
falling, and islands are
Chaos.
fleeing and moving, and
Stars
so I
are
think
falling
they're
So
all-
from
very
Earth.
chaotic.
And plates are shifting even now.
Yeah, they are now.
Yep, that's what the earthquakes are all about.
So on the fifth, we've got the fifth bowl, it's the angel pours the fifth bowl on the throne of the beast.
Yeah.
What happens to the throne of the beast?
They become dark.
Darken, yep, darken,
And pain.
yeah, some pain, yep. And they're talking about swords, I don't know if it's the swords that they're already getting, probably.
Well, they gnaw their tongues
They're
due
gnawing
to
the
the
tongue,
pain.
yeah, so
Yeah.
there's some sort of, with the darkness is some sort of pain.
Yes.
I think it's that, it's that when, you know, when dark, when everything is so dark, so very, very dark. It's scary, painful.
Mhm.
and,
Psychological.
I
there's
can't
no
see
light.
anything, there's no light, yeah. They're gnawing their tongues in pain, it's dark and there's sores.
Well, they already got sores early on. So
Yeah,
they're
right,
still
right,
like,
it's, yeah, it's on top of the sores, and now they
Yeah,
got
I
darkness
see.
and pain,
and
and they.
still don't repent.
Still, now these are on the throne of the beast, they still blaspheme God.
Still don't repent.
Yep, and it did not repent.
I guess they've doubled down at this point.
Well, and they've already shown who their alliances with, you know.
No, it's just a sickle.
Time of these days. This is 10.
So it is actually the sickles we're looking at now,
Oh, these are the symbols.
because it's beginning, I mean, the full wrath of God is beginning now. When you think about it.
And I think some of these, like I said, are happening simultaneously, even though there's one chapter after another, I think there's simultaneous things going on. Like they might show you what's happening, but the means of it happening, you know?
Yeah, but when you look at,
Chapter 14.
you've got 3 sickles. And those are the last of the 3 bowls.
Yeah.
So-
We got two,
You
yeah,
have two
you got the
sickles.
one
Yeah,
man
two
with the
sickles.
sharp
You have two
sickle and
sickles.
the other one with the
One
sharp
angel
sickle.
and one.
But still, I think we
Someone-
have a reaping going on. We're reaping what we've sown. You know, you say, God says you're gonna reap what you sow. This is a reaping, this is a part of the reaping.
So,
Definitely reaping what they've sown. Now we got a six bowl, 6 angel doing out his bowl, and that is going to be.
On the river Euphrates.
so from very water to no water.
Well, when I read something that said ancient Babylon on one side of the wall was the river Euphrates, but right up against
Mhm.
the wall of Babylon. Ancient Babylon. So you're right there where. all of, you know,
Oh, I just had to do that. There we go. So yeah, she she right here has a river Euphrates drying up. And why is it's drying up? And it's
So
drying
the
up from
kings,
what purpose?
Kings from the east,
Yes.
prepare the way for the kings from the east.
The kings of the east.
They're getting ready to gather, I guess.
What are
Oh,
they
for the
gathering
big war,
for?
is that-
Gathering for war, yeah.
We find out, yeah. For war, and we find out that war is gonna be the great day of God. We find that out on 14, yeah. 12 and 14 now. Great day of God. War, the great day of
I wonder
God.
if this
I didn't put another
There's
time
not
phrase
always
there.
even with
God,
Hebrew and stuff anymore, which
was
is why
where
they're
be of
functional.
God. And it is gonna be in a place called in Hebrew, Magidon.
Well,
That's a location. And 16, yeah. But how, so we've got the water drying up for the kings of the east, but how are the kings of the east? How have they been gathered? Who is gathering these kings from the east? How are they being gathered?
Three unclean spirits that were like frogs that come out
Unclean spirits.
of the mouth of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna put just there, I'm gonna put the dragon, beast, and
False prophet.
yeah, I'm gonna put FP for false prophet. That is what it calls it.
Yep.
Unclean spirits from dragon, beast, and the false prophet are now beckoning and gathering, and they perform signs, it sounds like, and gather together. So they've got some
I
demonic
understand.
spirits doing signs, yeah. Signs and performing signs, yeah. And they're gathering the kings from the east to the great day of God the Almighty. And they're gathering in verse 16 at a Hebrew place called HaMagidon. Okay, so there's, and I'm like, that probably is probably gonna be part of this too, part of the,
Like they're gonna gather to destroy the city.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah.
Isn't
This is-
verse 15 unusual?
yes, it is. It's a kind of a, you know,
Just
yeah,
a
there was a
reminder.
few verses like this. Behold, I'm coming like a thief. Yes.
But I mean about keep your clothes on.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
won't be made.
Well, that he said that to the churches, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah,
about
to
keeping your-
Laodicea,
keep your-
yeah.
Keep your linen on.
What the
But he
significance-
knows who's reading this too. He's sending this letter to the churches, to his bondservants. Oh, by the way, while I'm telling you this, I'm coming like a thief. Keep your clothes on. It's interjecting. I
That's
think.
John doing that.
Yeah, it's Jesus interjected to us reading it.
Yeah.
The servant saying, hey, he's coming, his Lord's with it. He's
Even
coming
though
like
you
a
have all
thief.
this information, you still don't know when I'm coming,
Yeah, right. It's just like, you know, it's kind of like a,
what it is.
you know, kind of like a hand wave, like those not emojis, like the hand
Right.
wave emojis. Like,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, he has some of these interjections like that one, and then another one talking about how here's the perseverance of the saints. I mean, I just feel like he interjects that because he knows the people reading this are bondservants. That's who he wrote it to. So he hasn't forgotten who he wrote to. And then, let's see, number 7, we now have a 7th bowl. This is gonna be 17. Yeah, 17, where was this bowl done on? This bowl was done on
The air.
the air. Yeah, this bowl was done on the air. Then we have something that didn't happen in any of these other bowls. What is we have a voice from the temple saying what?
It is done.
Like Christ said on the cross.
Yeah,
It is
exactly.
finished.
I thought about that too, Susan. It is done. And but we read that the wrath of God is finished.
Yes.
So that makes sense.
Yes,
That's it. This is the last bit.
It is done. And who's the only one who can declare it as done is the voice from the temple, which I took as being God. It's like, he's the only one who, in front, and it said it was also from the throne. He's the only one who can truly say it is done.
Say it's from the throne?
Yeah, it does say it, and temple from the throne, yeah.
Oh, from the throne. Oh, because I missed marking that keyword in my.
Yeah.
Where's my
Um,
margin?
Again, if you look back in the 14, that's that. The 6th angel
Uh-huh.
pulls out his sickle at the command and gathers the clusters for it at the great wrath of God, for it is.
Yeah, we've got,
But
so now that we've got all these, we've got,
Yeah.
this is like, we know that the wrath of God is finished. So it is done, actually, I didn't finish my phrase on that one too. But then we have some more things happen though. We've got a few things happen when it says, it pours it on the air, he says it's done, and what happens as a result? We've got
flashes of lightning and thunder, and a great earthquake.
lightning, thunder.
Not since
Yeah,
man.
this is
Like
like
the worst earthquake ever.
great, this is like the great earthquake. I put in mine unprecedented earthquake.
Yeah.
It's absolutely,
We've already had many.
yeah, we've had a bunch.
Yeah.
I put powerful, unprecedented earthquake. In other words, you've never seen anything like it.
and the destruction.
It's split Jerusalem and.
Yeah.
into 3 parts.
Great
And
cities.
this is what, yeah, Kathleen said, it shows you how great it is. It's a great city split into 3 parts.
Yeah.
And the cities of the nations
3
fell.
parts. Cities of nations fell. So I mean, you look at all like Dubai, when you're thinking all, you know, New York, you know, those big, you know,
Everything's coming
it's
down.
like, it's all down. I mean,
So
it's
the
it's
great
something,
city is
yeah.
Jerusalem.
So country living is the best.
Yeah.
okay? Buildings.
I don't think any place.
No,
can
I
be
don't think
safe
there's a
so
safe
far.
spot.
So all the cities fell. Yeah, we're talking about great city. We have referred to very likely as Jerusalem. That's what, Jerusalem. Great city was split into 3 parts. All the other cities just fell.
Mhm.
Right.
Babylon.
Babylon was remembered.
Okay, so we got that happening. We remember Babylon was remembered with.
Mhm.
Babylon remembered not in a good way either.
No.
Give her the cup of his wrath. The cup,
Wine of his fierce
wine of
wrath.
his wrath. That's 19. And then this one,
And essentially there, it's flat.
That's what I was like.
Because it says that the mountains fell, like Kathleen said, the mountains fell and the islands fled. I don't know if the islands just went, shoop, like they went under, who knows? Or they just crumbled. I think a quake would just, you know, take an island either under or would just dissipate, you know? So
It
yeah,
just
we know
depends
that-
on where
we
the
know that
fault lines
islands
are, I guess.
Islands disappear, literally disappeared or fled. This is actually said fled, I think,
Mhm, yeah.
fled. And then mountains are like, so you're thinking Mount Everest? I mean, this is what it could mean. Mount Everest is flat. You could actually climb Mount Everest after that.
If you weren't under it.
Climb Mount Everest.
If you weren't under it.
Yeah, right. If you survived all this, you could actually climb Mount
Well,
Everest.
somebody survives
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they're still complaining at the end.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, people still survive it.
Still blessed.
Oh,
Like
and
I
then
said,
we
at this
have,
point,
yeah, so
they're like
that was
doubling
enough.
down.
We
Like they're
have,
just like, that's, nope, it doesn't matter.
what do we have too? 100-pound. Yep. Like if you didn't, you know, survive all that. Yeah. On men, yes, it fell on men. And they all repented and no, they didn't. They,
So
blasphemed
nobody
God yet
repents.
again.
No,
Nobody.
it doesn't sound like anybody repents.
And they still blaspheme God. So they, because it was severe, so they blasphemed God. That
Gave
was
them
the
tons of
reaction.
chances,
So, yeah.
Right.
like tons of chances.
But I think they're showing the true character of their heart, really.
Well,
These are
yes.
people who are alive with the beast and blaspheme. That is, because the mouth speaks out of that which is in the heart, right? So they're
Mhm.
blaspheme, that is what's in their heart.
Yes.
When you see time and time and time again, how God has given them warnings,
They're so crazy.
and it just hardens their heart on them.
Warning,
Mhm.
warning, warning.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like
Yeah.
they're just doubling down. It's almost like, you know, an unrepentant child. And you're like, punish you, you're in trouble. And you're still, now you're more trouble, more trouble, and more trouble. And you're just like, it's just stop.
And what do you see? I just see God's mercy because it's, okay, because first he has, you know, 2 witnesses who are probably saying, you know, repent, Lord, do this turn, repent, repent, repent. And instead, the majority of people are like, get rid of these guys. They're just like, it made me think of King Ahab when he told Elijah, you tormentor of Israel. And, you know, Elijah's like, no, you're the one who's breaking. But that's how they will see
He
these
stopped the
people.
rain.
They will see these witnesses as a pain. They want to get rid of them. You know, they'll be dancing over their bodies. I mean, this is a condition of those on the earth. It's just like, yeah. But he gives them, but you bet these people are sharing the gospel, like telling them, you know, don't, blah, blah, blah. And yet, you know, they're still, yeah, exactly. He gives them warning here and then again, warning, warning, warning. You know, fear God, get his judgment's coming, it's coming. If you get to this, you're gonna go to hell, you know, torment. And they're preaching like the real gospel, you know what I mean? And with, you know, it's like, still, yeah, God's given people a chance after chance though. And then we see what's in men's hearts.
Mhm.
Blaspheme, blaspheme, blaspheme.
Makes you wonder if the angels that are signed know now that's gonna be their job.
Yeah, I
Yeah, and if they're looking and thinking, you
Yeah.
guys just have no idea what my job is gonna be.
Yeah.
It's to give you this bowl of God's wrath.
yeah, exactly.
Sing.
Yeah, well, thanks Kathleen for sharing your drawing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, everybody. I hope we're finished at, we're 11:02. I went 2 minutes over. Darn.
That's right.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you for that.